Hello, it's Damian Lilacs here. I am again at a different location than normal. I'm sorry, although still had to spend a few days away from home due to some things going on that are crazy and just needed to be safe. So I am at a college right now, at my boyfriend's college. So sorry if you hear certain things. But yeah, I'm gonna be reacting to Ben Shapiro's reaction to Elliot Page coming out as transgender. Let's see how it goes. Also, ahead of time, I am so sorry for all the misgendering he does, and I am so sorry if he triggers because he is a transphobe, and he does not think non-binary people exist and all that. So he also thinks there's only two genders, two sex also, and genders, which, if you know, there really isn't. There's a variety of things. I mean, there's intersex and such. So we'll see what his reaction is to Elliot Page coming out as transgender, non-binary. Also, just so you guys know. So they go by they, them, and he, him pronouns, just like me. I'm a non-binary boy. I go by they, them, he, him pronouns. So please, guys, if you see this, please respect Elliot Page and call them by their preferred name and preferred pronouns. We all can make a difference just one step at a time, each of us. So we don't have people like Ben Shapiro.
Okay, now, I would be remiss today if I did not discuss one of the great issues of our time. And that is that the actress Ellen Page, who is, was, and shall remain a woman, is now a man. So let me read you the headline from CNN, which conveys zero information. We have now been forced as a society to simply say nonsense. To simply just say things that are nonsense, that don't make any sort of logical sense, that don't actually translate from English to reason. Okay, so here is the headline, and you tell me if you know what the hell this means. Okay, ready? Elliot Page, Juno star, shares transgender identity. Do you have any idea what that means?
Yes, Ben Shapiro, I do know what that means. That means Elliot Page is coming out as transgender. That means they are transitioning into the other gender and sex, possibly. So, yeah, that's what that means. We'll see what he interpreted as.
Like, seriously, do you have any idea what that means? When I first saw the headline Elliot Page, I thought, whoa, Ellen has a brother? No, it turns out that Ellen Page is now identifying as Elliot Page. And media, instead of saying, here's a headline with content, Ellen Page announces she identifies as man, wishes to be called Elliot Page. Right? Now I would have the whole story.
Yet you have the whole story and you still get their pronouns wrong? And you still call them by the wrong name? You got the whole story now, Ben Shapiro. Why don't you use the correct pronouns and name? I mean, right now you're just kind of being rude.
But Elliot Page, Juno star, conveys nothing, because Ellen Page was the star of Juno. So I'm like, wait, was her brother in that movie? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Because the media have created this bizarre standard, whereby if a person declares themselves a member of the opposite gender, the entire world, especially in the media, must immediately flip on a dime, stop calling them by the name everybody knew them as, and stop calling them by their biological sex. You end up with complete nonsense.
Oh, such a shame. When typically you don't know what gender that person is until they grow up and figure out, hey, I don't connect with my body and the gender that was assigned at birth. So maybe, just maybe, they finally figured that out and they were comfortable enough with themselves and the environment that has been created to, for some reason, hate on people like us. Maybe they finally felt like they could come out, which is why we're supposed to flip on a dime and call them by their correct pronouns, call them by their correct name, because that's who they are. The past pronouns and name that they had are not who they are. Not at all. That's not them. That is a dead name, and that is a dead set of pronouns for them. That's not their pronouns, and that's not their name anymore. So get it right. And yes, you're supposed to flip it on a dime, because that's called respect.
Now listen, Ellen Page can identify however she wants, I don't care. Really, it makes no difference to me. She is an adult human. She can
does it make no difference? And do you really not care? Because you just call them by the wrong name, and you just call them by the wrong set of pronouns. So do you really not care? Because if you really didn't care, you would be doing things correctly and not screwing things up for yourself. If you really cared.
Do whatever she wants. It is a free country. However, it being a free country, I am also free to point out that Ellen Page is, was, and shall remain a woman. Because Ellen Page is in fact a woman. Now I'm happy to call Ellen Page Elliot if she wants to be called Elliot, because people change their names all the time, and you can in fact change your name by declaration. You cannot, however, change your sex by declaration.
You can. There's called transitioning surgery. You can transition your body to the opposite sex. And gender and sex are two totally different things. So why can't you call them by their correct pronouns? Because that's gender. That is gender. That's not sex. Also, if you're fine with calling them by Elliot, why not call them by Elliot? Why do you keep calling them by their dead name? That does not make sense, Ben, at all.
Or your gender by declaration. That is not how this works. There is no other area of life in which people simply declare themselves to be a thing, and everybody goes, oh, okay. Right? An objectively verifiable thing. Right there. You can declare your sexual orientation, or you can declare a thing that you like. You can declare that you're a fan of this particular band. You can declare that you have a sexual attraction to X, Y, or Z. Right? That's all subjective. And all we have to go on is your behavior.
And what you're saying is all objective. Because, I mean, studies have been shown that gender and sex aren't just black and white. There is a spectrum. So what you're saying right now is just subjective. And your own opinion, not a fact. Not a fact at all. Just an opinion. So there's been proven facts that we exist out there, Ben Shapiro. Why is there so many of us if we don't exist? I mean,
Which is objective and your subjective self-assessment. However, when you're declaring something as core as your sex, there is no objective measure whatsoever whereby Ellen Page is a man. None. Right? She is a woman. And yet we are immediately told by the media.
being transgender is not necessarily having the body of the opposite sex. It's just necessarily wanting to be called by different gender pronouns than what most people think that body anatomy comes with. And why can't you do that? I mean, also, they will be a male. If they start to transition and take testosterone and such, they will become a male.
You can declare your sexual orientation, or you can declare a thing that you like. You can declare that you're a fan of this particular band. You can declare that you have a sexual attraction to X, Y, or Z. Right? That's all subjective. And all we have to go on is your behavior, which is objective, and your subjective self-assessment. However, when you're declaring something as core as your sex, there's no objective measure whatsoever whereby Ellen Page is a man. None. Right? She is a woman. And yet we are immediately told by the media that to even address Ellen Page or Elliot Page as a she is discriminatory. It's very bad and very discriminatory. And so you end up with complete inanities and insanities. Okay, so Ellen Page declared that she is now a man. Okay? But she also declared that she is a queer man. Now, this is confusing, because if she were a queer man, this would mean that she is attracted to men, which would technically mean that she's a straight woman. Right? Because if she is an actual woman attracted to men, this would make her a straight woman, but we know she's not that, because she was a lesbian. Right? So she is married to a woman, as far as I'm aware, and that means that she is a lesbian, but now she is a man, and according to her, this means that she is a white, straight male. So how's she queer? She's a white, straight male. So here is how Wikipedia tries to sum this up. You ready for this? According to Wikipedia, in January 2018, Page publicly announced his marriage to dancer and choreographer Emma Porter. So this means that Ellen Page is a gay man married to a woman, according to Wikipedia, which makes no sense at all.
Yes, that Wikipedia source might not have been the best site to go to. I mean, no surprise, you don't go to the good sites that you're actually going to get the correct, advice and facts and evidence. Like all the other YouTubers like Blair White and Calvin Garra, of course you guys aren't going to go to the correct sites that are actually going to give you facts and not opinions, because anyone can go on Wikipedia and make a page. Anyone. So therefore, how is Wikipedia even a reliable source? And what it's like to be queer when you're trans, it is just a word that you kind of use because it helps you. You're right now transitioning. Maybe he used this because there's a number of reasons why this would be used. Either they just want to keep the world from like possibly exploding on them, and also they want to make it so like it's easier on them because they identified as a lesbian. So technically, yes, that is queer. Although queer is also a word that goes for gay people and lesbians. When you're trans, you use that word when you're gay or lesbian because that's a middle ground word. And technically, it can even mean pansexual. It doesn't necessarily just mean gay. So technically, we don't even know what Elliot is into. Elliot could be into a guy. Elliot could be into girls. Who knows? That's Elliot's choice. And only Elliot and Elliot's partners, that's the only people that need to know Elliot's identity when it comes to sexual orientation. Only people.
And you're expected to simply mirror this. Not only that, the left has particular standards with regard to who gets to play parts in movies. So, for example, Ellen Page, now Elliot Page. I'm saying Ellen Page not because I wish to offend Elliot Page, but because until 5 seconds ago, nobody had ever heard of Elliot Page, so nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about. So I'm going to use the name that people know her as. And then, over time, if you want to call it Elliot Page, that's fine. But for like today, I feel like it's fair to mention that Ellen Page and Elliot Page are the same person, so that if somebody tunes in and hears Elliot Page, they don't think Ellen has a brother.
No one really thinks Elliot has a brother except very uneducated, low-minded people. Because most people realize when you say the title that you even wrote on your YouTube video, which is actress Ellen Page declares she is a man named Elliot. By the way, that should be worded. Actor Elliot Page declares that they are a man. They're aka Elliot Page. If you truly wanted people to know who it was, you didn't have to word it in such a rude way, Ben Shapiro. You could have worded it nicer, and just with that one title, that's all you need to leave it as. You could have just continued using they, them pronouns, he, him pronouns, and their preferred name, which is Elliot Page. You could have continued using that and just wrote that title in, and everyone would know who you are talking about. There's a picture on your thumbnail, dude.
So, here's the headline from TV Insider. Elliot Page reportedly to continue in same role on Umbrella Academy. Now, Umbrella Academy on Netflix, it started off that the series itself is based on a comic book. In the comic book, Ellen Page, who again is a woman, and is in the series a cisgender woman, right? Like a woman who is a woman, is a straight woman in the first season. In the second season, Ellen Page becomes a lesbian because Ellen Page is a lesbian in real life, I guess. I mean, I assume that's what the plan was there, and that it has something to do with how Ellen Page wanted to act.
You can be into guys and girls and any gender at the same time. That doesn't just mean you're straight and then you switch to lesbian. That just means you're still who you are and your sexual orientation hasn't changed one bit. Maybe they just didn't know that they were a lesbian if they do identify as a lesbian now, because I don't know for sure, because I honestly don't care. It's Elliot's business, only Elliot's business, so I don't care to know all of this. But truly, if they started to realize that they might be more interested into girls, then that might be why they would use that label. That might be why. But I mean, if you're just putting words in someone else's mouth, then you don't even know what their label is, so stop.
Because my understanding is that's not something directly from the comic book series. If it is, forgive me, that's fine. Okay, but here's the part that's hilarious. So, according to Variety, they say there are no plans to change the character Ellen Page plays for her gender on the Umbrella Academy. So the series is publicly showing their support. And they say they are proud of their superhero. We love you, Elliot, but Elliot will be playing a woman. That this is discrimination and cultural appropriation. When Scarlett Johansson, a straight woman, was slated to play a transgender man in a movie, this was considered very, very bad form. In fact, only trans people could play trans characters. So I have a question. If Elliot Page is in fact a man, the way that the media have declared that she is a man, then why is she allowed to play a cisgender woman?
The reason why people were upset with the actor who played a transgender person that isn't actually trans, because it was terribly presented, and also she doesn't even know what it's like to be transgender. So yeah, transgender people are going to want transgender people to be playing those roles because they actually know how to play them and how to relate and all of the emotion that needs to go into all that dysphoria that comes with being trans. And also, maybe Elliot's just staying as a female type characteristic in that show due to that's already what they have been playing as. And maybe it's just easier to not have the whole entire script that has been literally played out rewritten. It's kind of easier that way sometimes. So sometimes transgender people suck up the dysphoria and deal with it because they need money and it's a job. I get misgendered all the time with my jobs and such, but I don't throw a tantrum about it because I realize I need this money. So sometimes for transgender people, we just gotta deal with it when it comes to a job. It's probably what they might be doing. Who knows? It's none of your business anyways.
Is that not cultural appropriation? If a normal, non-trans man decided to play a woman today, everybody would suggest that this was a violation of long-standing norms. It's cultural appropriation.
Have you never seen Dallas Buyers Club? Because Jared Leto plays a cross-dresser in that. And so it happens. It happens all the time, Ben Shapiro. Maybe you just don't know because you're a transphobe and you stay away from movies like that. Maybe that's why you don't know that that actually happens, and it happens a lot more than you think.
If a woman declares herself a man, then you have to make a choice. Either she is a man, in which case she can't play a woman anymore, or she is not a man, in which case she's not a man. But because our culture is unbelievably stupid, it is both. Right? That is the way that this works. So good news, Elliot Page can still play women, and also can play transgender men. Presumably can also play men, which is really exciting. One further note on all of this. If you feel like this is crazy and that this is being crammed down on you, that is because it is. That is because this is not a fringe phenomenon.
You want to know what's actually crazy? Is the fact that everyone is so butthurt about Elliot Page coming out and being who they are. That's the crazy part, is that people are bashing on Elliot for finally being comfortable with saying who they are. It is hard to come out as trans, especially at the age that they came out as. That is hard to do. So that's the crazy part, is that you guys just can't even deal with it and just stop being rude. That's crazy. Not the part that Elliot is trans. That's not crazy. That is actually normal, whatever that is.
Right, this is something the Democratic Party fully embraces and pushes. Yesterday, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, he said that he is fully with Joe Biden on mandating from the federal government that transgender people be allowed to use the bathroom of their choice. Now, it seems to me that if my wife is uncomfortable with a male walking into a bathroom or a locker room where she is undressing at the gym, that is perfectly within her purview. That seems like not inappropriate at all to me. But the federal government has now decided under democratic auspices that men and women are exactly the same. That gender is completely fluid. None of this makes any internal sense, by the way. If men and women are completely the same, there's no reason for you to declare yourself a man. Man equals woman means woman equals woman. Right? I mean, it's just the basic transitive property.
It's a good thing that transgender people are allowed to use the bathroom that makes them comfortable, because when you're transitioning and you go to the other bathroom, it adds so much dysphoria, adds so much depression, adds so much anxiety, and also you could get hurt. It is far more common for a transgender person to go into the wrong bathroom or even the correct bathroom that they prefer and to get hurt than a cis person in that bathroom getting hurt. The cis people hurt the transgender people far more in bathrooms than the transgender people hurt the cis. I have not heard any transgender person do that unless it was self-defense, because cis people are kind of mean. Not all of them, but some. Like you, Ben Shapiro, and apparently your wife. And then there are some mean transgender people, and I've already mentioned them in this video and a few others. And I've also done videos on them, so you know who they are.
Fully greenlighting the democratic agenda, which is fully in line with all this silliness and anti-logic nonsense. And again, Ellen Page or Elliot Page is allowed to do whatever she wants to do today, but she does not get to dictate what the rest of us say about things as basic as biological sex.
Biological sex is not basic. There is female, there is male, there is a in between, which is intersex, and there's neither, which therefore you have to give something so they can go to the bathroom. So sex isn't just black and white. There's a gray in between.
Okay, but here's the Democratic Party pushing this stuff.
Joe Biden said that on his first day of office, he will give transgender students access to sports, bathrooms, and locker rooms in accordance with their gender identity in all federally funded schools. Do you think he has the ability to do this, and do you agree with this decision?
I agree with the decision, and I know he'll check things out thoroughly legally.
Let's for a second take it for applause for Joe Biden doing that on the first day. Hopefully he will be tomorrow. I'm filming this the day before he becomes president. Although I hope he does, because that's a good thing. That is a good thing. Honestly, not thrilled on everything on Joe Biden, although way better than Trump. That's all I can ask for, is someone better than Trump.
Okay, I'm sure that this will all work out just fantastically. I'm sure, and don't feel bullied. Don't feel as though you are being forced to change long-standing and, for all of human history, held opinions about the non-malleability of sex. It is all because you're discriminatory in your mind.
It's all about the discriminatory in your mind, Ben Shapiro. Us transgender people don't have discriminatory thoughts, really, about cis people. We don't. You have the discriminatory mindset of transgender people. So as you're saying this, you're contradicting yourself.
Now, the fact that this is all illogical and makes no sense. The media have told you that the thing is so, and therefore it is so. And therefore, and also, if you mention it, it's because it's because you're obsessed with these issues. This is one of my favorites. Is that you say something as radical as men and women are exactly the same and a man can become a woman, and then I say no. And they're like, why are you even paying attention to this? Why are you even making an issue out of this? I'm not. You guys are. I'm sorry, but you purveyors of new truths that have nothing to do with science, logic, reason, the answer is no.
What? Hold up, Ben. Hold up. Did you just say that we are in the wrong here? Because we want to be seen as equals? Seriously? So, the fact that we're standing up for ourselves is wrong, but you can stand up for yourself because you're cis. Oh, that's totally fine because you're cis. You can stand up for yourself, but transgender people can't stand up for themselves. How does that make sense? God.
There's no. I do not go along with your mandatory take on the world. And I don't think Americans should either. It's not an excuse for being nasty to people. It's not an excuse for discrimination. It is a recommendation that we all speak real truths when they are available. And it happens to be a real truth that Elliot Page was, and will remain a woman, even if Elliot Page believes that she is a man. And you're under no obligation, moral or otherwise, to suggest that men can become women, or to teach that to your children, which is really what the left wants out of this whole thing.
Oh my. Elliot, I am so sorry. You are a man. You are non-binary. You are who you want to be. And for all those people that say that you aren't, they just aren't educated. They are not at all nice people. And we should be teaching our kids about the different genders and the different sexualities, because we don't have gay sex education, which we need, because a lot of people are going out there and not knowing what to do, which ends up very badly. Very badly. That's how things get transferred. That's not good. We need education in our school system. We need parents educating the children so they can respect their peers. I mean, seriously, wouldn't you want your child to go to school and respect your peer? Or would you want your child to go to school and be rude to your peer and possibly end up getting hurt because they're rude? Or, getting expelled because they're rude and discriminatory towards people like us? But that's all for today on Ben Shapiro. I am so sorry I put you through that. I hope that was not as excruciating as it was for me, and I can maybe make it a lot easier, because, he put his foot in his mouth really far. Yikes. But, yeah, that's all for today. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. I have that bell that you can hit if you want to know whenever I'm posting. I will be posting every Tuesday and Friday at 12 p.m. CST time. I do have a Facebook and Twitter account. Links are in my YouTube account. And I hope you guys have a good day. Bye!